Hello, all. Welcome to An American Living in the Philippines. I'm Justin. I've been living in the Philippines for about 2 years now, and my wife's been on me about making videos, and I just haven't. I don't have all that fancy editing equipment and everything, so but she's really been on me, and a lot of people, even my family, they ask and they ask what it's like living in the Philippines. How big is the Philippines? All these questions. And I mean, I can answer a lot of questions anybody may have, especially about living out in the provinces, which is like really living out in the country. It's not even like living in the country in the U.S. You have to really go out in the U.S. to live in the boonies to come close to what you'll find out in the province. In We live in Western Visayas, which is actually Antique. We live in, and we're in the central to northern section of Antique. So luckily, for the most part, Mrs. Typhoon Odette, uh, we did get hit with, was it Raleigh 2 years ago on Christmas Day? That was a very strong storm that about leveled this village. Um, so that comes up to one thing about living in the Philippines, especially as foreigners. You have to really be prepared for many natural disasters because Philippines is one of the top countries in the world for a little country that experience a lot of natural disasters. Okay, typhoons, hurricanes, 20 plus a year, depending where they hit. They call them typhoons down here, not hurricanes. Anywhere from category 1 to category 5 that just came through. We got hit 2 years ago with a category almost 4 here, and luckily our house went through unscathed, but not too many people in the villages were as lucky. Power was out for 3 months, something like that. All the high tension lines, everything was down. Anyways, especially earthquakes. Earthquakes is another one, and many active volcanoes in the Philippines. That's another one. But earthquakes are common. Uh, Typhoons, floods, a lot of rain, landslides. Uh, Most areas of the Philippines is fairly not all, but most are fairly mountainous. Like here, we're 1 kilometer from the ocean, and 1 kilometer the other way to the mountains. So, and the mountains are straight up. So, for the most part, uh, you have to be prepared for many natural disasters. So, people want always ask, how big is it? How big is it? Well, the Philippines really isn't that big. The total land mass is about 44% the size of Texas, or 74% the size of California. But you have to understand one thing, that size of a country is also spread out over 7,000 islands, and making logistics and transportation and everything like that a lot more difficult. So there's a lot of traveling via water for the most part from one area to the other. Um, we live on a bigger island, so for the most part. So yes, that's kind of about the size of the Philippines. Now you'll ask, a lot of people want to know population. Well, population is about double the size of California's populations. No, almost triple the size of California's population. California has 33 million people, I believe. So you have 3 times that population, but it's spread out also over 7,000 islands. So, depending where you live, you're going to want to do a lot of research. You're going to, especially for an American, because they're used to so many luxuries that you won't find many of them here unless you're in a big city. Um, Cities like Cebu have a lot of foreigners. They just got hit by that massive um, typhoon last few days ago. Um, Cebu's, Cerro, Boracay are pretty, you know, a lot of foreigners. Some in Leyte, some in Angeles City, where it's close to the Subic Bay, which is in the northern part of the Philippines. You've heard of that naval base probably. That's closed down, and now there's talk about whether or not they may reopen it for the U.S. I don't know. But you're definitely going to want to do your research. It's not going to be for everybody, because things that you take for granted in the U.S. you cannot take for granted here. Cell phone service, internet, going to the store and buying what you want, getting a pizza, getting tacos. It's not going to happen here. Not easily, not out in the provinces anyways. If you're in Manila, it's a little bit of a different story. You know, they have all the stores, and you kind of can get any Western product if you're in Manila or the big cities. Here you're going to travel a couple hours if you really want to try to get some Western kind of products. You're going to have to go to like Kalibo, Iloilo. Those are bigger cities in this area, but Iloilo is quite a travel from there. Roads, one main road that goes around the National Highway. We live on the National Highway. That's about the only major road that goes through the Philippines, and it goes through most of the cities. You know, it goes through the cities actually. But the infrastructure is not anything quite, in most of the Philippines, is not anything that we're used to from a Western civilization. I mean, you get running water. Running water you really don't want to drink, though. You still buy purified water. Running water is used for showers, stuff like that, city water. You don't drink it. At least as a Westerner, you don't drink it. Like I said, internet, cell phone service, all that's spotty at best. And I mean, sometimes you're literally, a bird flies over, you lose connection. And in here you don't have cell plans, so you get data loads. You just go buy a load is what they call it. Same with your TV, same with, at least in our area, because no cable or anything like that. The kids are having a little sleepover here. And I need to get my wife also, get her introduced, and she's really funny and cute. But yes, it's just a basic start. I mean, feel free to ask any questions you want to ask. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. But as for people that I know you cannot come right now because of COVID, unless you're married and you have the visa and everything else. I get it. I understand. They say they're going to open up for tourism, and within 12 hours from when they announce they're going to have tourism starting at the beginning of the month, they cancel it. So, yes, anyways, feel free to drop your questions down and so on and so forth. In the next video, I'll introduce you to my wife, and we'll go from there. So thanks a lot for watching anyways.